There's a quiet grief that runs through No Country for Old Men. Not the grief of death, but the grief of realising the world doesn't need your permission to change around you. That one day it will just move on, and the only thing that's left is whether you can still live with what remains. This is a film about time, finality, the moment the present stops being yours and becomes someone else's. In 1980 West Texas, a hunter named Llewellyn Moss, played by Josh Brolin, stumbles upon the aftermath of a drug deal gone wrong. He finds a suitcase with $2 million and decides to take it, setting off a violent chain reaction. Anton Chigurh, played by Javier Bardem, is a cold, ruthless hitman with a moral code defined by chance, a coin toss to be specific, and he is hired to recover the money. Meanwhile, Sheriff Ed Tom Bell, played by Tommy Lee Jones, tries to protect Moss and investigate the violence, grappling with the sense that the world has become unrecognisably cruel and chaotic around him.
Well, it's a mess, ain't it, Sheriff?
If it ain't, it'll do till the mess gets here.
From the very beginning, the sheriff feels like a man already standing in the aftermath. He's not racing to stop the violence, he's witnessing it, trying to make sense of a world that no longer seems to answer to the rules that he thought would last forever. He speaks of older times, of lawmen who didn't even carry guns. He waits, perhaps, for a kind of divine order to return, for some signal that justice will make itself known. But the film is about realising there's no guarantee of that, and maybe there never was. The future is coming for the sheriff, and it doesn't ask permission. Tommy Lee Jones gives a performance that is quiet, soulful, and unbearably human. He doesn't grandstand, he just reflects. You can feel the weight in his eyes of a man who has seen too much and still longs for a reason to hope. Llewellyn Moss is clever, tough, and resourceful, but what makes him tragic is that he's also stuck in an old mindset, one where men just handle things alone without question. And his wife Carla Jean, played by Kelly MacDonald, is desperate to help. To think with him, not just for him. But he shuts her out, and that may actually be his downfall. He loves her, there's no doubt, but he's clinging to a past idea of how relationships should work, how men should act, perhaps fatally. He puts himself in so much trouble and is just so determined to not accept any help from his woman that he's just doomed himself, and it blinds him to the truth that survival in this new world presented in this film demands adaptation and moving on, not just clinging to pride.
You're coming back, ain't you?
I shall return.
Carla Jean's strength is quiet, feminine, and deeply human, and she's one of the film's hidden powers, because even as everything collapses around her, Carla Jean sticks to the truth. She faces the situation way more honestly than most of the men in the story ever manage, and that honesty really matters. Javier Bardem is a complete nightmare in this film. Chigurh doesn't yell, doesn't rage, he simply is. Immovable, unreadable, unpredictable, every word you can find for just undefinable. He makes the everyday terrifying. I mean, take that gas station scene that everyone knows the film for now. A kind old man just trying to do his job finds himself face to face with Anton Chigurh, and the killer says almost nothing. He offers a coin toss, heads or tails. It's such a mundane gesture, but in that moment the atmosphere just turns cold. We see terror creeping into this gentle man's face as he realises something horrible. His life might end, not because of what he did, but because fate flipped wrong. It's devastating because this man is good, and goodness doesn't save him.
I didn't put nothing up.
Yes, you did. You've been putting it up your whole life. You just didn't know it. You know what date is on this coin?
No.
1958. It's been traveling 22 years to get here. And now it's here. And it's either heads or tails.
That's the horror the film makes us sit with, the idea that evil doesn't need a reason, that it can walk into your life on a quiet afternoon and ask you to call a coin, and somehow that's enough for it to do what it wants to do. Chigurh is just beyond words in this, and Javier Bardem's emotionless performance is truly fascinating because it could have been a bit cringy, it could have been try hard, but there's no effort to remove the emotion, there's no effort to remove the empathy. This character just literally is. He's one of the most absorbing serial killers I've ever seen because he really is nihilistic with no empathy. There's nothing to him, but that's what makes him fascinating. He's just pure evil, really, the closest you can get to pure evil, and he kind of represents the looming threat of the entire movie, the entire threat of this new world bearing down his characters. He's kind of a reflection of everything that the sheriff is trying to prevent. And I do love how Carla Jean is the one who resists the coin toss when she's confronted with it. She shows strength through softness. She's feminine, yes, but she's not weak. She's moral and she's wise and she's deeply present. Her refusal to call the coin might be the bravest act in the film.
Call it.
No. I ain't gonna call it.
Call it.
The coin don't have no say. It's just you.
I do find another scene fascinating where Shiga is bloodied, limping in one scene, and a couple of kids run to help him. They offer their shirt. They don't know who he is, they just want to help. It's a rare moment of kindness, but it lands wrong because that kindness is wasted on someone who's done nothing to deserve it. And yet maybe that's the point, that empathy exists, that people still choose to care. Even if it lands in the wrong hands, it's still out there, and that matters. Sheriff Bell is tired, he's done, but maybe what keeps him going is the idea that as long as we choose to stand for something, the killer doesn't win. Not really. There's a real genius in the Coen brothers' restraint in this film. They don't flood the screen with music or chase scenes or exposition. Instead, they hold shots, they observe, they let silences breathe. And in doing so, it just becomes unbearable and so tense. A motel hallway becomes a place of dread. A coin toss becomes a question of life or death. A desert night becomes as terrifying as any nightmare. By keeping the camera still, they let the weight of every decision crush the air in the room. It's a film of narrow corridors, small rooms, quiet corners, but somehow it feels as vast and dangerous as anything you've ever seen. The effect is claustrophobic, like the characters are all playing Russian roulette with the soul of the world, and the scariest part is the world keeps turning either way. No Country for Old Men leaves you with more questions than answers. It doesn't wrap things up and it doesn't offer closure. But again, maybe that's the point. The world is changing, it always has been. And sometimes evil walks free. Sometimes good people die, and sometimes justice never comes. But as long as people like Sheriff Bell keep standing, tired, confused, but as long as they still care, they still hope, they still try, as long as there's characters like Carla Jean out there, and despite his bad decisions, Llewellyn Moss still has a good soul. As long as these people are out there, then the killer hasn't won. Not just yet.